In tonight's headlines, the city proposes 10 new tobacco control measures in a bid to lower the smoking rate. The Council of the University of Hong Kong is facing criticism for severely undermining the institution's academic autonomy. And at least 45 are killed in an Israeli strike on a United Nations-run school.
The government is set to approve 10 short-term measures, including banning all flavored cigarettes and alternative smoking products, including vapes and heated cigarettes, by the end of next year, in efforts to lower the city's smoking rate. Smokers will also be banned from smoking in queues for public transport, theme parks, or medical facilities. All duty-paid cigarettes must also be labeled with anti-forgery features, and the maximum penalty for evading tobacco duty was raised to a $2 million fine and 7 years imprisonment. While the measures faced backlash from tobacco lovers, Health Secretary Lo Cheng-mao says it is necessary to push forward with such measures for advancements.
We understand that some people may have already been smoking for quite a long time, and in order to try to change some of the behavior, we need time for them to adapt. Over the last 40 years, we have been taking this incremental approach. For example, when we first started to restrict smoking in indoor area, we took an incremental approach. Firstly, in elevators, in the lower deck of land transports, and subsequently to all indoor area of restaurants, public areas, and so on, and now to the workplaces, etc. So now, while we are extending this to the outdoor area, we would like to adopt the same approach.
With an ultimate aim to turn Hong Kong into a smoke-free city, it will also be illegal to provide cigarettes to underage teen and children in the near future.
I think the key principle is that we want to protect our youngsters, our next generation. So what we are doing now is actually an education process, a cultural change, a behavioral change. So apart from setting this new rule, another important aspect is that through education, through promotion, we will educate our young people that they should not receive tobacco products. At the same time, we send a very clear message to the adults that one should not sell, nor should one provide such tobacco products to our young people.
The amendment bill is expected to be tabled to the Legislative Council before the end of this year and to be passed within this legislative year. Janice Yu, Cable News.
After being kept in dark about a surprise reshuffle of his senior management team, the head of University of Hong Kong openly fought back for the first time by writing to his staff and students, saying the institution's governing council's move in approving 6 interim vice presidents disregarded the fundamentals of good governance. A week after the incident, the city's highest-ranked university's president Xiang Zhang was seen in HKU event with Cai Hongbin, one of the newly appointed interim vice presidents, standing next to him during picture-taking sessions. Zhang did not respond to the reshuffle incident when he left. However, he sent an email to HKU staff, students, and alumni on the same day, saying that the appointment had violated the established procedures, which he was not a part of. The email also criticized the council for damaging the university's academic autonomy, which is detrimental to the stability and development of the institution and the city. The appointments have also sparked outrage among the alumni and former council members, including former Education Secretary Fanny Law, as they sent a joint letter expressing a lack of confidence in the chair of the council, Priscilla Wong. The alumni have called on HKU's Chancellor and Chief Executive Zhang Li to take action to resolve the turmoil. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
The city's flagship carrier, Cathay Pacific, is resuming direct passenger flights between Hong Kong and Riyadh, capital of Saudi Arabia, starting from October 28.
Riyadh is a very vibrant city.
Speaking at a signing ceremony with Saudi Air Connectivity Program, Cathay Pacific's chief executive Ronald Lam said the new flights will help bolster connectivity, trade and cultural exchange as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Cathay asked a previous service to Riyadh in 2017. While the airline is trying to fully return to its pre-pandemic capacity, the pilot training program may have a setback. AeroGuard Flight Training Center from the United States has halted solo flights for Cathay cadet pilots after a number of training incidents that damaged planes and went unreported by the trainee aircrew. The cadet training flights were grounded, pending an investigation after 3 mishaps in as many weeks, including a wingtip collision, a bounced landing, and a complete runway excursion. Cathay acknowledged the events that took place and said it is taking them seriously and fully supported the decision of the training school. AeroGuard signed a 5-year agreement with Cathay in 2022 to train hundreds of future pilots in the 10-month program. Anna Chan, Cable News. Dozens of bodies were wrapped in blankets and laid out in a morgue after an Israeli strike hit a school-turned-shelter in central Gaza early Thursday, killing at least 45 people. Israel claimed the United Nations-run school in a refugee camp was used as a Hamas compound, and a number of steps were already taken to reduce the risk of harm to civilians during the strike. The number of casualties, including children, is expected to rise. The strike came after the military said it was launching new air and ground operations in central Gaza, stating there would be no halt to fighting during ceasefire talks. As the war in Gaza approaches the 8th month, the United Nations Children's Agency published a new report which highlights alarming levels of child food poverty due to inequity, conflict and climate crisis. It described the catastrophic impact of Israel's offensive on the enclave has caused the collapse of food and health systems, finding 1 in 10 children survived on 2 or fewer food groups per day between last December and April this year. 65% of children were fed diets with only 1 or no food groups in February, a 6-fold increase from the first half of December last year. The report warned that more than 1 in 4 children under the age of 5 live in severe food poverty, meaning more than 118 million face adverse impacts on their growth and development. UNICEF appealed for action to make nutritious foods more accessible for young children in order to end child food poverty. Anna Chan, Cable News.
Three, 2, 1, ignition.
After long delay, Boeing finally launched its first Starliner flight with astronauts on Wednesday from Cape Canaveral in Florida, beginning a mission of navigating new issues en route to the International Space Station. With 2 NASA astronauts aboard, the Starliner capsule was released in orbit as planned, with the flight going as expected. Starliner will fly in space for about 25 hours before a planned docking with the ISS tonight. The astronauts will then spend about a week on the ISS, focused on testing Starliner before returning to Earth. The brand new spacecraft was once seen as a competitor to SpaceX's Dragon capsule, but its debut has been delayed by years, making it slipping into a backup position for NASA, while Dragon has flown astronauts for NASA regularly since 2020.
The delay in rate cuts by the U.S. Federal Reserve may imply that the high interest rate environment in Hong Kong could last longer than expected. But the Overseas Chinese Banking Corporation, better known as OCBC, pointed out that it has limited impacts on small and medium-sized enterprises. Not only because SMEs are very resilient as they are more proactive in seeking additional solutions in a bid to raise productivity. Tan Teck Long, head of OCBC Global Wholesale Banking, unveiled that some have even decided to conform to the environmental, social, and governance strategies (ESG) trend. But it was not easy for them.
SMEs faces unique challenges in adapting their business model to the ESG trend, partly because SMEs don't have the resources to hire CSOs, to hire consultants in order to adapt their business model.
As at the end of April, the number of SMEs setting up accounts at OCBC has increased by 3 times in the last 7 months. It has also rolled out a digitalized account opening process for SMEs last month, which allows businesses to set up an account without setting foot in branches. Meanwhile, Ten stressed that the second largest bank in Southeast Asia by assets is a long-term player, even when the investment banking environment is not ideal in recent years.
While some segments of the investment banking business like IPO and bonds have not been doing very well in Hong Kong as a system, for OCBC, we have been helping customers refinance using syndicated loan. And indeed, despite the environment, OCBC in Hong Kong has grown its syndicated loan business by 20%.
As the bank focuses on a customer-centric viewpoint, Ten emphasized that the group would not pull out of Hong Kong regardless of the environment. Instead, it will continue to build up its businesses. Janice Low, Cable News.
Here he goes. All shall be well.
Ray Young is the first Hong Kong director to win the Teddy Award in 26 years at the Berlinale International Film Festival, which celebrates queer films around the world. The director of the new film, All Shall Be Well, said he was a victim of racism and homophobia growing up in Britain and the United States. The sense of injustice eventually motivated him to make films about sexual and ethnic minorities.
So my main reason is really to have more representation of Asian LGBTQ on screen because especially like last decade there were not a lot of representations. Recently there have been more, but some of them are still not very truthful. So, I just want to explore a lot of issues that we face, not really just about coming out, but it is other issues as well, like in All Shall Be Well, even though the couple who has been very out to their family members and to the society at large, but still they are very much discriminated when it comes to many different aspects in their life. So therefore, I feel it is important to continue making LGBTQ movies because it can expand the dialogue with the general public.
Other than being a filmmaker, Ray has also been organizing the Hong Kong Lesbian Gay Film Festival for more than 2 decades. The festival is financially independent and does not receive government subsidies. Young felt that even to this day, the queer community still faces a lot of challenges in Hong Kong.
It is important because for a lot of people, if you're growing up, there's a lack of representation for you, and you might feel very lonely. And if you see yourself represented on the screen in a positive way, it is very encouraging and very empowering. So it's something that I think it is important, especially for the younger generations. But even for, it could be any different generations really. If you're in the closet, you still need that kind of representation and positive representation as well to make you feel that it is okay.
All Shall Be Well was released last month, but you can still watch it on the big screen at selected cinemas. Janice Yu, Cable News.